Morning, everybody. Just doing a few things here to help people find us. Us meaning me and whoever decides to be crazy and run through projects today. I'm tagging some people over here on the computer. Still. Katie, are you here? Is that you that I just saw come in? I'm still trying to find my own video. Oh, there it is. Okay. I need to get it started. And I need to turn the sound off. There we go, so that I can see your comments. All right. So, I'm done with fall. I know so many people love fall colors, and they're hard for me. Hey, Angela, welcome. Good morning. So we're going back to a palette that I love, and I've made it all spooky and Halloweenish, and I hope that you love it too. And drink a little bit of my coffee this morning because I haven't gotten any yet. I've been rushing around here just trying to get things ready and getting kitties out of the way. So Hazy's insulin schedule has flipped. Hey, Katie, welcome. It was at midnight, which I could stay up till midnight and then give him his insulin. And he was good until 8 o'clock. And then his insulin stayed stable for his testing. And so that skewed his insulin dosage to 4 a.m. And that's a hard one for me, but I do it because he needs it. I just don't like it. It puts me being awake for like 45 minutes in the middle of my sleep schedule. And I overslept this morning because of it. And that was totally on me. Because when I woke up, my alarm was still going off. It was set for 5:45. And I'm sure that the kitties loved listening to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack blaring out of my phone for a while. So taking a sip of coffee. Smells good, tastes good, feels good. Morning, Denise. This morning's coffee is mocha fudge truffle. It's one of the Kitchenese coffees. It comes in the set. I got the set with the No Drama Llama cup, which is adorable. And I still haven't forgotten that you guys are going to get a Kitchenese live, but I have so many friends and family here locally that love it that they sold me back down, and I've got another order on the way, and then we'll do a live so that you guys can see that stuff too. And I'm going to go ahead and flip things around. Oh, that's why my water keeps disappearing. Hello, Rosalie. We're gonna do watercolors today. And I had everything all set up last night, and I came in this morning and it's like, wow, my water evaporated super fast. Oh no, Rosalie's drinking it right now. So that explains that. All right, so let me flip things around. I'm gonna stand us on our head for a minute and then do some adjustments with the camera. There we go. Might as well keep spinning all the way around so that you can see the crazy cat for this morning is Rosalie. Oh, Facebook did not like that. Okay, we're back. Don't want to anger the Facebook Live gods because I would really like to stay connected. All right. So we're working with part of the Magic in This Night. That's a suite in the August through December mini catalog, aka the holiday catalog. And we're going to be working with this beautiful peacock color here, but let me show you some of the rest of what is in this package. These are all double-sided papers. They're 12 by 12s. So we've got our black roses which has our little bats on the back. I love little bats. This one has some really great blackberry bliss and the curry roses. On the back of that one are these gorgeous kind of gothic medallions, which we've also got in the curry color. More little bats. And these are such a cool bat. It's all filigree lace. Then we've got some roses, stripes, this beautiful fleur-de-lis, and then the spiders. We're going to be doing something with the spiders too. And on the back of that one is kind of a harlequin pattern. So this is the decorative paper, DSP, Decorative Series paper. And like I said, we're going to be doing watercolors, and I had everything all sorted out. So now I'm looking for where I sorted out what I need to. Yoda, are you sitting on it, honey? Yes. All right. This is my watercolor mat. Rosalie, are you? Yes, Rosalie is sitting on my card blank. So this is just a scrap of, it's rubber-backed felt. And yes, it's full of Yoda, but we don't care about that part. We are going to be focusing on the watercolor. When I give you guys the supply list, you're going to see that it has all kinds of ink on there. Don't panic, because I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do things. The easiest way is with the ink refills. If you don't have them, and I don't have all of them, what I'm actually going to use is the markers. And I can't just list 4 colors of markers because you know they come in sets. So if you have the sets of markers, great. If not, you can actually use your ink pads directly to do this with too. And sometimes that is easier. So this is an F block. I know this is the great big huge one that everybody's like, oh my God, what would I do with that? Well, Katie has it. I showed her a few things to do with it while she was here, including a very large stamp that she actually needed this block for. The other thing that I really like it for is for doing watercolor backgrounds. And so that's what we are going to do with it. All right, so I said that you can use directly from the ink pad. If you're going to do that, you want to just open it up. And we're just going to daub randomly. If you've got the ink refills, you would just put a few drops, you know, wherever you wanted them on here. We don't need that marker because we just used the ink. And this, we're just going to make some squiggles. It seriously does not matter where they are, how they're laid out. This is one of the fun things about watercolor, is that you just kind of have to let it go. You are not in control with watercolors, especially when you're doing backgrounds, and that's okay. Everybody needs to just give up control every once in a while. I learned that a long time ago with soap, and I struggled and fought with watercolors for the longest time until I started doing soap, and then I realized, oh, this is a symbiosis between you and your art materials. And then I could see how it also applied to the watercolors that I'd had such a time with. So watercolor and I get along a whole lot better these days than we ever did when I was younger. All right, so we kind of have a big old mess on here. Doesn't look all that great, but we're going to take a wide flat brush, and we don't need it saturated. I just dipped it in here. Let me put the water up here so you guys can see. So I just dipped my brush in like 1/8 of an inch or so. You just want a little bit to wick up onto your bristles. And we're going to coat this paper just really lightly. This is the watercolor paper. This is not regular cardstock. You don't want to use regular cardstock for this because it is going to curl immediately. Watercolor paper is about 140-pound paper, whereas regular cardstock is usually between 80 and 110. So for the sake of showing you this, I'm going to move all of that stuff off camera for a minute, because what we're going to do next is to activate this ink and make it a little more pliable. So this is a Stampin' Spritz. It's full of clear water. We're just going to spray it on there. You can see that the ink is starting to bead up, and that's what we're after. Morning. Cole just got home. All right, I'm going to re-wet this just a bit. And if you have any questions about things as we're doing them, ask me, because I keep looking over to see if anybody's saying anything. All right, so we're just going to flip this over on top of our paper, and we're going to give it a little squish. Now we've got a nice layer of water between the block and the card, and we can lift this up. You can see the water flowing here. That's what we want. We just want a lot of texture, some blending of the colors. Okay. So you can do that a couple times, and that will give you beautiful. Okay, I like that. So we're just going to let that sit for a minute. It has to dry. This is probably about a 15-minute process here, but don't worry, because due to the magic of lives, I have one ready for us to work with. And I'm going to just scoot this off of camera carefully. All right, so here's our completed watercolor. And I have trimmed this down. You saw that we started off with, that was a 9x12 sheet of watercolor paper that I quartered out and then cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And it's nice and flat because I've pressed it under a block all night. And what we're going to do now is to start our stamping, and we're going to use our Versamark pad. Versamark is a watermark ink. You won't see much of it when I stamp it on here. And we're going to use the Magic in This Night stamp set. Now, there is no cover for this one because it got wet, and so it was better to just take it out there. We're going after this cute little filigree bat. And then we will just ink that up with our Versamark. And the way that you can tell when you've got enough ink on this is that it gets shiny. So just make sure that every place is coated, because we want good coverage so that when we do our next step, it turns out beautifully. So let's put our little bats flying right about there. All right, so see what I was talking about? You can't even tell where the bats are. There's a little bit of a shine if you get the light, if it hits the light just right. So let me get this stamp cleaned off. Kitty's underfoot. All right, now we're going to take just a piece of scrap, and it's this one I've stamped stuff off on, but we're going to ignore that. It's not important. Just a piece of white bond paper, typing paper, copy paper, whatever you call it. That's what we're using there. And then we're going to take our Stampin' Emboss powder. We're embossing today. I love embossing, you guys. Oh my God, it's so much fun. Katie, you do need a wish list, and I have a supply list for this project that I will post when we're done here too. So now you see why we have the paper underneath. We're just going to sprinkle our embossing powder on there. And you can be liberal, don't try to hoard it, because we're going to get back everything that we didn't use. Okay, so now can you see where our ink was? But see, we've also got some embossing powder that's sticking other places too, so we're just going to turn it back over, give it a good flip. And if you find that when you're flipping that you lose some of your powder, don't panic. You can completely wipe this off with a brush. I could take this brush and just wipe all of this powder back off, and then put more embossing powder down. It will stick again. But this looks pretty good. I don't see a whole lot of wayward embossing powders on there. Okay. So let's put this back in the jar. Okay, and we're done with that for now. All right, so I'm going to step off camera for just a minute, and you're going to hear my heat gun start up because we want it to be warm before we start embossing. Before I get started with that, let me show you. This is the Stampin' Up! Heat gun, heat tool rather. If you have a heat gun, which many of us do. I have one out in the Mercantile. I went ahead and got this one for having here at home to do embossing, because dragging the one that looks like the blow dryer back and forth was just getting too cumbersome. So if you have one of those that looks like a hair dryer, that's perfect. You can use it, okay? All right, so that feels warm enough. And we're just going to start applying some heat to our project. And you will see it when it starts to turn. It looks so cool. One of my new favorite things to do is watch embossing powder melt. See, there it goes up in the corner. And see how it just ripples out. Okay, so can you see how shiny and silver this is now? And as soon as your card is cool on the back, you can touch into that. It's not going anywhere. And we're going to set that aside for just a minute while we create our little sentiment bar. And this is just a scrap of Whisper White cardstock, just the basic cardstock. And we're going to be stamping with this gorgeous frame. I love this. as spider webs and flowers. And then we're going to cut it out with the accompanying die as well. All right, for this one, we're going to use our Memento ink, because we're going to be doing a little bit of blending on this one. And that looks like it's covered pretty well there. Great. All right, so now we're going to go back to our markers, and we're going to be using the Blackberry Bliss and the Pretty Peacock. You can use whatever colors you want, though. This is just what I happen to be using. And all we're going to do is just hit the leaves with the peacock and kind of base in the flowers with the Blackberry Bliss. You guys are awfully quiet this morning, unless I am just not getting comments. I hope I'm getting comments. I hope it's just that you're being quiet and not that I'm not getting them. Okay, there's a couple more leaves here in this one. I think we got them all, didn't we? All right, and then with this for flowers, we're just going to kind of, hello Rosalie, you're coming up in the middle of everything. She may be on camera here in a moment. We're just doing the base shadowy part of the petals, and I will show you why in just a second. All right, now we're going to work with the blender pen. Love, love, love the blender pens, because we can get several colors out of what we've already done here just by drawing over the top of it, and see how it creates a whole other color and then blends the two together. So the blender pens come in a pack of 3. We talked about those last week. I will show you how to clean them off. You can use them again right on a different color, so I will show you how to clean them in between colors, and you will have blender pens for a really long time when you buy the pack. All right, so there's our flowers. They have a little bit of depth now. And to clean our blender pen, we're just going to roll it around on our paper until it's clear. The little bit of discoloration on the tip isn't going to hurt anything. It's not going to ghost onto your next project. There's nothing there. All right, now we're going to stamp this with our sentiment, and let's use our Blackberry Bliss for that one. And we're going to stamp it with Happy Halloween. And I'm going to use my paper pumpkin
block because my husband and I are both using the same size blocks at the same time now, so I'm going to have to get another D block so that we each have one of our own. In the meantime, we're using the paper pumpkin block, which is really cool that during your very first paper pumpkin kit, they send you a block. It truly is an all-inclusive kit. So I think I want this going, yeah, the way that we had it. All right, now we're going to cut this out with the dies. Here are the dies that go with this set. And my husband makes photocopies of the dies when they first come in so that we have a little map as to how to put them back together. Because some of them, that there are tons and tons of dies in one kit. If you get more than a couple of them out of here at one time, you're like, oh man, how does any of that all fit back together? So like, and this little sticky tape, will become less sticky over time too. So like, see, my spider migrated. But what we're after is this little frame. This is the one that we were using on the treats the other night in the crafting workshop. And this is the smaller of the two. So we're going to cut this out like so. And we'll be back in just a moment because the die cutter is off camera. And while I'm over here, I'm going to have to go attend to one of my naughty kitties right now. Julie is digging all the towels out of the towel drawer. All right, quick, get out of there. Let's go. Remember, the popping is normal. It sounds like everything is just breaking into bits, but really it's just paper popping. So here we go. We've got our sentiment bar. And I love our sentiment bar, but I think I want it to be a little shinier. So what are we going to hit it with? That's right, Wink Estella, because you know I love it. Love it, love it, love it. This is our glitter pen. So let's hit our spider web with a little bit of shine. I'm just going to daub it on there in the webbing. And then hit the flower petals just across the top. And this spider web too. And I'm just dotting in the webbing to give it some sparkle. All right, let me see if I can hold it up there and see if you can see any of the sparklies. Okay. I hope you can see the sparklies. They're really pretty. All right, so now we have our pieces. We have our fleur-de-lis that's cut into, this one is cut into 5 1/4 by 4 if you're keeping measurements. And we can start putting our card together. So the way that we're going to attach our watercolor card, because it's still a little crinkly, it's not bad, but it's not completely flat. We're going to use Stamp and Seal on that because it will give us a nice firm hold. And just going around the edges, and then I'm going to go through the middle as well. And if you see any little crinklies like that one, I'm going to hit that with some extra there. Should be good. All right, remember your Stampin' Seal is very unforgiving. Once you're on the paper, that's where it's going to be. So you want to line it up as best you can before you put any pressure on it. That looks good. All right, so now see that's starting to flatten out a little bit. You'll want to cut your card base on the vertical so that it's longer this way. And Yoda is sleeping on my trimmer again. It has. Thank you. And then we are just going to score our fold lines here at 4 1/4 plus just a scotch. All right, you can see our score line there, and we're going to mount the watercolor and the frame to the card. And I'm going to do this with the white multi-purpose glue so that I've got a little time to move things around just in case I need that extra time to move things around. I'm getting to the bottom of my glue, so it's going to take a minute to flow down there. I left it laying on its side so it wouldn't take as long, but it's still not wanting. I need to just grab a new glue thing when I'm coming here to do live so nobody has to wait for my glue to flow. Come on. Come on, come on. All right, I can feel it down in there, so maybe it's just clogged a little bit. Yep, that was it. Had a tiny little clog in it. There we go. We have glue. Wahoo, we have glue. All right, don't get it close enough to the edges that it's going to seep under your project, but you do want to have it as close as you dare. That way it will help support the watercolor panel that's still trying to buckle just a little bit. But you know, these are hand colored cards, so it's being perfect is not a thing for those. It's the labor of love that we're after. All right, and while that sets, oh, I know what we'll do. I'm going to tuck this underneath our grid pad. That will give it a little weight. And we're going to check in on our watercolor that we did. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. So see, all of the ink, you saw me just wipe and there's nothing there. All of the ink that we had on this pad has transferred to our watercolor, blended together in some really unique and beautiful ways. And we've even got, I mean, this is usually what happens when you drop salt. Salt resist is a really cool thing, and we'll work with that at another time. But you kind of get this pattern. Now what we can do is just let this dry flat. You can either keep the F-block on it, but we need to use this for right now. So I'm going to borrow this back. And I'm going to hit it with a paper towel because there's a little bit of ink right there. Or maybe not. I didn't bring, oh yes, there are some paper towels here. You guys should see my crafting table, the part that's off camera. It is such It's a mess, let's be honest. All right. So what we were going to do with the block was what we did with the grid pad. That's what I wanted to show you, is just you can take that, and this block is pretty hefty, so it will help flatten out your project too. And we'll just leave that sitting there while we play with this a little bit. We're gonna put some dimensionals on the back of it. But first, we're going to wrap it in some spider webbing. Let's do that first. All right, so this is the metallic mesh ribbon, and this comes in the Magic in the Night, the suite. And what we're going to do is just wrap our sentiment in spiderweb. And then tie a little knot. So let me get my ribbon scissors out here. See the new bling that my ribbon scissors have? My side sisters and my upline made me that at a team meeting because they're all back in the Midwest, and of course I can't get there every month to do that and to play with them at their roundtable in-person meetings, and so they made me that so that I felt like I wasn't as isolated over here. They were thinking about me, and I thought that was really sweet. All right, so we're just gonna tie that in a little knot right here. And then we're gonna cut that, give it about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches. And then that will fan back out. And then we're gonna put dimensionals. Yeah, you can see I'd stamped a janky one on that and flipped it over. We're gonna put 4 dimensionals, 1 in each corner. That's the cool thing about having 2 sides of your paper, is that when you mess one up, you've got another one to work with. And I am not believing that we're not getting any comments. So I'm very sorry that I'm ignoring anything that you're saying, because my screen shows that there's nothing there, and I am just having a really, I doubt that. All right, now we're going to center that about like so. And then we're gonna do some embellishments too, but before we do that, I'm gonna flip this card over, and we're gonna grab our little bats again. This time we're only after the small bat, and so I want to show you how to just do one of the 2. All right, so instead of inking, turning this up and inking the whole stamp, what we're gonna do, and you can also do this with markers, you can just color in the bit that you want, but we're just going to stamp the little bat that we want here, the tiny one. And then we're going to stamp it off, because we actually want the 3rd stamp to just ghost right there. And then there's still one more that we can get out of this particular color. It's different on every color as to how many you can get, but let's grab an envelope and we will just put one here in the corner of that too. Yeah. And that's just a nice little accent and detail. All right. fold our card. We're almost finished, guys. All we have to do is add some bling. And check out the bling in this set. It is so gorgeous. These are the iridescent pearls. And they are purple and green and yellow and pink and just so, so shimmery. All right, so we want 3 of these. And I'm going to put one of them here in the, like at the throat of this bat. It kind of looks like a medallion. And then the other 2 we're going to put at the base of the spider web. And there we have our Happy Halloween card and envelope. Grab the envelope. And in very non-traditional Halloween colors. So what do you guys think? Even though I know I'm not getting your comments. I'm gonna go back out and maybe try to start this again so that, yeah, I knew there were comments in there. But it's still not giving them to me when I reopen it though. All right, I will go through comments. I'm so sorry I didn't get to play along and talk to you guys as I was doing this. Who all is here? Katie and Glenda and Jen. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me. And, oh. Yeah, I'm reading, now I'm reading through the comments. There's a lot of them though, and it's showing me 4 out of 49. So I will go through comments when I get back to my laptop. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to flip you around here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I had fun building this card to be able to show you how to build this card. And I'll drop a project list. But as you know, to make a $5 or $6 item, you need at least $300 worth of craft supplies. But you know, we build our supplies. So when you see the list for this, don't freak out, because you could build like tons and tons of these cards with the supplies. But I'm just giving you a list of everything that I've used today, because some people like to, you know, they wonder, it's like, oh, what was that paper pack, or what were those embellishments called? So that's what that's all about. Thanks for joining me. I'm trying to figure out how to get myself shut back off. Hey Morgan, welcome. I just saw you pop in. Sorry, I saw the comment there. So, all right, you guys have a fantastic Sunday, and I will see you later.